Welcome back. You're now watching the political segment of the weekend show. Joining us in the first political segment, we have DELE Bello Williams, who is the gubernatorial candidate for the Grassroots Development Party of Nigeria, GDPN. Thank you so much for joining us in today's program.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
So, right to it, I understand you're an internationally trained lawyer who has worked in that space, and you've also handled negotiations between African countries and organizations, and now you've chosen to get into politics. GDPN, the Grassroots Development Party of Nigeria, is not one of the big parties. Why GDPN and why are you running?
Thank you very much. I'm running because, like you rightly said, I am an international trade lawyer. I trained in the United Kingdom and in Switzerland. And for more than a decade, I've been involved in negotiating trade and advising African countries on developing strategies. And when I sat at negotiation tables in Switzerland or in Hong Kong, for instance, at the last Doha round negotiation in 2005, I noticed that people that come from different African countries actually never come prepared with a knowledge of what is going on at home. So they actually come in and almost always accepted the trade terms that were delivered to them around the table. And I used to really kick myself when I sit down at those tables, saying, God, give me a chance. That if I ever get a chance to work for Nigerians, especially people in my state, in Kogi State, I will do something different. I will make sure that the real interest of our people is promoted, whether it's in Nigeria here, because at the end of the day, even though we're a state amongst 36 other states. So there are trading opportunities between us and other states. So I believe I'm in a good position to promote Kogi State within the context of Nigeria, and ultimately, when the Africa Free Trade Agreement is signed, I mean, it's already signed. Nigeria is now
almost ratified,
and it's going to come into effect in July 2020. So I'm desperate that Kogi State is prepared to take advantage of that. So that's why I want to be the governor.
So what are some of the natural resources local to Kogi State that you're looking to trade?
Fantastic, thank you. You see, Kogi State is in a unique position. And I'm going to talk about a natural resource that many people don't consider a natural resource. That is our location. I know when you ask me about natural resources, perhaps I want to talk about the iron ore that we're mining and processing, and we should be mining and processing in Ajaukuta and a few other minerals in our state. But no, that's actually not the most important opportunity in Kogi State. It's our location. We are the only state in Nigeria that has land border with 9 other states. No other state in Nigeria has that benefit. Plus Abuja. So that means average Nigerians have traveled through Kogi State in their journey between the north and south of the country. They just have to. But what we are not doing at the moment is taking advantage of that traffic. Because I tell you what, everybody traveling through Kogi State, which is thousands, maybe millions of them every year, have money in their pocket. Either they are going home, or they are going to do business in Abuja, or they are crossing over to Lagos. So what I intend to do is to take advantage of our location by establishing an industrial cluster for the transportation and the logistic industry.
Interesting.
So basically, what I plan to do is to invest in centers where large good vehicles who are traveling all the way from Lagos don't have to go all the way to Maiduguri. They can stop somewhere where they have a large motor parks, sleeping facilities, storage facilities where they can store their goods. In fact, they can actually come to Kogi, deliver their goods, and go back to Lagos. And other trailers will come from Maiduguri or Sokoto or Abuja to pick them up and take them there. Because I tell you what, if shops like ShopRite, who are in Abuja and other parts of the north or in Lagos, have this kind of facilities, they will use them. And you know what, that also has an additional advantage of reducing deaths on our road. Because sometimes these trailers travel all the way because they don't have a choice, and they are sleeping and cause accidents and spillages. So really, one of the things we're going to do is that. And we're going to create an integrated transportation infrastructure, because you know we also have the River Niger and Benue. We are the confluence states, right? We're going to take advantage of that. And also we don't have an airport at the moment in Kogi State. We more than deserve an airport. Because of our location, I bet you, if we have a decent airport, even an airfield, a lot of Nigerians coming from abroad or coming from other parts of the country will land in our state and then find their way home by road.
Okay, I would like to argue with that about that, because we have an international airport here in Kaduna, we have Abuja, but let's come back to Kogi State. Kogi State has been in the news, especially for lack of payment of salaries. They recently, I think, impeached the deputy governor, was complaining that his salaries running into hundreds of millions were not paid. This is the number 2 person in the state. Now, you have said you will create 10,000 media and tech millionaires in yours if you
30,000 jobs.
Yes, but how many?
10,000 millionaires.
10,000 millionaires
Yes.
in media and tech.
Yes.
How do you plan to tackle the lack of the non-payment of salaries in Kogi State?
See, there are two questions in your statement. I'll address the first one, which is a fairly political one. And I don't think it's actually politics. I think salary is a fundamental human right for anybody that has worked. Unfortunately in our state, our brand is being destroyed by the current administration, owing so many months of salaries. And from our understanding, this has actually happened in the previous administration as well of PDP. And so it's unfortunate for our people. And one thing that they fail to recognize when you refuse to pay staff salary, in a state like ours, whereby 80% of our income comes from the federal allocation, and the majority of our workers are public sector workers, government workers. So by cutting off their salary, you know what you have done? You have cut off the lifeblood of the economy. Because what it means is that if these people are not paid for whatever reason, because of screening or whatever the excuses are, market women don't get customers. Transportation workers don't get customers simply because you have refused to pay people's salary because you are looking for ghosts, right? And so really we think the idea of removing ghost workers from the system is very good, but the method is atrocious. It's actually very elementary methods. And I think I believe, actually don't think, when we get into power, we're going to change that. And one of the ways we're going to change that is that we're going to restructure the state economy. You know, at the moment it's 80-20 public-private. Our target and ambition is to turn it to the other way around, 20 public, 80 private.
How are you going to do that? Yeah.
Thank you very much for asking that question. If you have had a look at my manifesto, there's something in my manifesto called the Arewa Marshall Plan. And, you know, and this is a plan that we borrowed from what happened in 1947-48 after the European World Wars, where massive investment was needed to reconstruct Western Europe because of the devastation that has been caused by war. Our state has not been through war, but the kind of dehumanization and problem that we face in our state, we might as well have been through war. You know, we have some of the worst roads, we have thuggery, we have hunger, suicide rate in our state has gone up. So we need a massive injection of capital in the right sector. And so what we are working with is multilateral banks. We're also going to be working with local banks to raise 100 billion plus in our first year.
So more debt.
Is it debt that is necessary? See, there's a different thing when you raise debt to invest in capital and to spur your economy than when you raise debt to pay salary. You see, by the time we finish within 2 years, you see that money that comes from the federal government to our state, about 4 billion a year, we will not actually have any reason to touch it beyond just using it to service our people. The money that we're going to be required to run our states, to increase the size of the cake that's available for sharing, will come through investment. So even if you borrow 500 billion naira, if it is going directly towards investment, in capital investment, you are not doing anything wrong.
So I'm still trying to figure out how you intend to increase your internally generated revenue in Kogi State, because I hear borrowing, I hear, you know, setting up, you know, some infrastructural developments to boost the economic activities in the region, but I'm not hearing what you're doing to increase your IGR in Kogi specifically.
So, you know, when I talked about industrial cluster strategy, what it basically means, if I can just repeat that again, is that we're going to become specialists in the whole of this nation in transportation and logistics. So our aim is that nobody else in this country, no state, will have the infrastructure or the systems or the people that can manage infrastructure and transportation. Logistics and transportation. So we couldn't be offering you services in logistics, for instance, cargo freight, mail freight, and other type of freight services, rest areas for trailers, even servicing industry for trailers. If we offer you all of this, it's going to bring money into our state because it's not for free.
But investors
So we are going to make massive amount of money from, I mean, think of Heathrow Airport in London, for instance. It's a huge logistic and transportation sector around it. And the amount of billions and billions of dollars that are going through it every day because companies have chosen to put their headquarters there because it makes life easy for storage, for transportation, for selling. So really we're going to increase our IGR through that. And also don't forget, if we have that sort of industry, our local economy in the market women will sell more. Because our idea, see, my philosophy is you empower the people, let them make more money. And when they make more money through their own natural trade, whether it's agriculture, fishing, or selling in the market, then the government makes more money.
So in 4 years, you're going to borrow 100 billion, if I got that correctly,
Yes.
and you're going to create an infrastructure. You're going to empower 10,000
Actually, I haven't talked about that.
tech and media.
Yes.
To okay, laudable plans, laudable initiative. I must commend you. It does
Yeah.
make sense,
Thank you.
but the practicality, I'm still not very convinced. However, I look at the candidates that are being, lobbied in the media, the four running candidates, and your name is not one of them. You have the incumbent governor, Yahaya Bello, who is running under the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC. You have the PDP candidate, Wada, and you have some other pockets of candidates who are also well known, whose faces
I think
have
my
been...
name will come into that if you have been watching this space. And that is rising very fast.
Okay, and
yeah.
the elections are just next Saturday, so
Yes.
it's still rising, but it's not to the place where
want it to be.
exactly.
I
So,
appreciate that.
what are your aspirations really? Do you believe that you can win these elections on Saturday?
Thank you. You see, one thing, and I hate to use this example, when Donald Trump was running for president of the United States of America, few people gave him a chance. And I remember one thing that Donald Trump said to a particular segment of the population. He said, "What have you got to lose?" See, the people of Kogi State have tried PDP for 16 years. They've tried APC, which is another iteration of PDP, for 4 years. So I think there's no difference between APC and PDP. So they've tried APC-PDP merger for 20 years. Now we're offering the people of Kogi State an alternative. See, what makes me different, fundamentally, is that I have been working for 20 years on solving problems all over African countries, from Uganda to Rwanda to Ghana and Nigeria. So I have the experience, I have the clout, and I have the connections, right? And I also have the passion to deliver on this. I'll just quickly mention before we finish about the creative campus, where I intend to create 30,000 jobs and 10,000 millionaires. It's not far-fetched, and I'll quickly explain to you why. In 2014, I set up something called Creative Campus in partnership with the BBC in the United Kingdom. And I've tried this and worked on it, and I know how it works as a model. Okay? And basically, one thing I've discovered, my takeaway from that project, is that whether you were born in Kigali, in Kaba, or in Ankpa, in Kogi, or you are born in London, a lot of young people, their ability to manipulate technology is the same. What is the difference between them is access. So, for instance, young people in China, young people in Japan, they have access to high-speed internet networks. We need that in Kogi State. So for me to implement that 10,000 millionaires, if I can get the high-speed international internet network into Kogi State through our Marshall Plan, that 100 billion that we're raising, that's going to be number one on our agenda. I just need to leave the young people to the rest. And you know what? Like I said to you, as an international trade lawyer and trade negotiator, I know how to open markets. So once we give the infrastructure to the young people to be able to play, because for young people, technology is play, and I open markets for them, the rest is going to be history.
Any final words to potential voters?
Voters, like I said, you have tried APC, PDP, they haven't worked for you. The people that are currently in the government house, in Lugard House, they have good intentions, but they don't know how. A man is sitting here before you and before the whole of Nigerians who knows how. All I'm asking for is, Nigerians, it's time for us to dream and believe again. Come out and vote for Grassroots Development Party of Nigeria and vote for me. And let us see what we can do together.
What's the logo of your party? I don't even know what that is, because they vote the thumbprint on the logo. What's the logo of the...
No, the thumbprint is not part of the logo. The thumbprint is just a way of showing people...
Yeah, but what's the logo?
The logo itself is like a palm fruit.
Okay.
So you have a palm fruit with 2 other plants sitting on it. And that's because we believe that agriculture and grassroots activities is the best way to solve Nigeria's problems.
Awesome. Dele Bello Williams, an internationally trained lawyer who has been researching and advising African countries and with solutions for their challenges for 2 decades, and the gubernatorial candidate of the Grassroots Development Party of Nigeria. We wish you all the best, and it's been a pleasure having you on the Weekend Show.
Thank you very much. It's a
You're
pleasure
most
being here.
welcome. You're most welcome.
Yeah,
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more on the political segment of the Weekend Show. On the second half, we'll be talking about the proposed bill by the Senate to jail sexual predators in tertiary institutions. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.